W-A says wa unless it's W-A-R, and then it says war, war. Now, after we work on this for the next 20 minutes or so, it's going to get simple. So we're going to arrive at that simplicity on the other side of complexity. You watch, you just watch. All right, so let's practice. All right. Let's start marking our, actually I have to move this over. Hang on. That's better. Let's start marking our vowels. So this A is going to say ah because of the tab 2 rule. There are 2 consonants after it. This is our reading hack for the day, our reading rule for the day. We cannot look at this A in isolation because it is being affected by both the W and the R. When you see W-A-R, it says war, war. This A is turning into more of an O sound, long O sound. Okay? It's okay if it's complex right now. It's going to get simpler the more we repeat it. So we have G, A, T, W, or. I'm going to, I am going to, just for this class, I'm going to count W-A-R as war, just because I want your brain to see it as a unit, to recognize W-A-R as a unit. So I'm not going to place a little dot underneath each of the micro sounds, which I usually would. We don't usually see a 3-letter trigraph like that, or 3 letters that make a combination of sounds. It's not even a trigraph, but I want you to learn to recognize this W-A-R as its own unit that makes the sound war. So I want you to hear war as its own unit just for this lesson. Normally we would separate them. We did in spelling class, but in here, I want you to, your brain to recognize it as its own unit. And then the p at the end. So we have gat, warp, gat warp. Make sure that this A is sounding like an O, long O, gat warp. All right, so try yours over here. Okay. So this I is going to say it because of the tab 2 rule. W-A-R says war. So we have p, it, war, p. Pit warp, pit warp. You're getting it. Pit warp. All right, number 2. This A is going to say ah because the next 2 letters are consonants. None of them is an R, none of them is a W. It's going to make its normal friendly sound. Here we have a W-A-R. That is a little bit of a complex situation here. That A is being affected by both the W and the R. And this A is going to sound like a long O. W-A-R says war. So we have plast, wharf. Plast wharf. Plast wharf. Go ahead and try yours. Go nice and slow. Grab that T. So that T is going to have you spit right into that W sound. Not really spit, just kind of a little blast of air. All right, so this A is going to say ah because of the tapped 2 rule. W-A-R says war. This A says ah because there's 2 consonants after it. This A says O because there's a W before it and an R after it, but you can do this. You've got this. You can get this. So we have classed wharf, classed wharf, classed wharf. Would you put a word in the Q&A just to let me know how you're feeling about what you're learning so far and about how you've done on number 1 and number 2. Just so I can kind of gauge where everybody's at. All right, we have good, good, cool, so good, 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 good. You guys don't struggle with complexity at all. You just absorb it. You are such learning sponges. So many goods are coming out of here. 2 out of 2. All right, let's plow through here then. Uh-oh, I don't know what I just did. There we go. All right, number 3. This is gonna get fun now. We're gonna start speeding it up a little bit. You guys are like, wait, no. Yeah, we are. You can do it. So this A is going to say a because of the tap 2 rule. WAR says war. St, a, n, d, war, Stand warm. Sounds like it should be a real word. Stand warm. What is yours? Go ahead and try it. Don't worry, Azeb. We were all beginners once. Coming from spelling this is so easy. No, cameras aren't on in this class. All right, so this O says ah. Because of the tap 2 rule. I was just thinking, when I just flashed the Q&A, can you see that when I flash the comments, when I'm looking at my comments? I'm putting up the Q&A right now. Can you see this? I'm just curious. Can you see everybody's answers? Good. Good. That's what it's supposed to be. I don't want you to feel vulnerable sharing your answer. Okay, so this O says ah because the next 2 letters are consonants. WAR says war, like the word war. So we have st, ah, p, war, Get that M right there. Stomp warm. Stomp warm. Sounds like an activity to do in the snow. Stomp warm. All right, number 4. Here we have war right at the beginning of our word. We have a. That E is making it short sound because the next 2 letters are consonants. Y at the end of a longer word usually says E. Now, I am going to slow it down just a little bit because I saw in the Q&A that we do have a couple brand new beginners. So I got a little bit excited because everybody said you're doing so good, but I'm just going to slow it down just a touch. Okay, so we have war, p, e, n, d, e. Warpendy. Warpendy. Go ahead and try yours over here. So this E is going to say it's short sound because that's what E's say when there are 2 consonants after them. This is going to say E because that's what Y's say, usually, when they come at the end of longer words. They usually say E. So we have war, our reading rule for the day. M, e, n, d, e. Warmendy. Warmendy. Would you please put in the Q&A how many out of 4 of these 4 you got without me? So I can see. Just kind of gauge how the group is doing before we go to the extra practice. Okay. Just for your information, it's kind of scattered. It's kind of scattered. A lot of people got 2 out of 4. Some got 3. Some got 4 out of 4. So, okay. Let's keep practicing. Let's go down to the extra practice here. Do you have any that you want me to do? Let me see if I can figure out how to move this all of a sudden. There we go. Go ahead and put in the Q&A which one you want me to do with you, even though I have a feeling you can read all of these pretty simply without me. Notice that word simply. Did you find the simplicity beyond the complexity? I have a feeling you did. It was complex there in the middle, and then you worked through it. You went through the complexity and saw the simplicity on the other side, didn't you? And now you're like, I can just read these words now, simple. But let me see which ones you want me to do with you. Getting a lot of 10s. Okay. 10 it is. Now, why don't you try and read it on your own first, and then I'll come back and read it with you. Okay. Let's talk about, before I read it with you, I want you to be able to do this part on your own. Let's talk about accents. And we're going to do a deep dive into this next month. But when you have a one syllable word, it is automatically accented. Accented means it is said with emphasis. That syllable is said with emphasis. So if you have a one syllable word, it's automatically accented because there are no other syllables to be unaccented or unstressed. When you have a two syllable word, usually this first one is accented. When you have a three syllable word, usually this first one, sorry for my sloppy writing, it's hard with a mouse. Usually this first one is accented. So we have 1, 2, 3. So far, the first syllable is always accented. Examples are corn, beef, cream, or two syllables, burger, hot dog, pizza. Can you hear the emphasis on that first syllable? Ketchup, mustard. Can you hear how it comes out stronger or louder? Same with, it's also the first syllable if it's a three syllable word, or yeah, a three syllable word. And this is usually, it's not always. Triangle, hamburger, hospital, magazine. Now, if you have a four syllable word, it's usually that third from the end. Triangular, respectable. Can you hear that? Isn't that fun? We're going to have a whole lesson on that pretty soon. Now let me count how many syllables are in this word, and then we'll know where the accent should be. So you can count how many syllables there are by how many vowels there are that don't touch. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is a vowel if it's not the first letter? So we have a 4-syllable word. So according to average or common patterns, this third from the end, or the second syllable in, is going to be stressed or accented, which would be this one. This little symbol means it's an accent. So let's keep that in mind as we read it. You go ahead and try it now on your own. You might have said something different, but now try to stress this second syllable and see what you come up with. All right, so let's just read this together. This WAR says war, like the word war. I in the middle syllable gets to say I, regardless of how many consonants are after it. However, these two I's both get to say I for two reasons. Because it's in the middle syllable and there are two consonants after each one of them, so they both say I. Y at the end of a multi-syllable word usually says E. So we have war, sh, I, p, I, f, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 letters, but only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, war is divided into more sounds, but having the knowledge of where the accent should go, let's try reading it with the accent on that second syllable. So we have worshipify, 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 worshipify. How did you do? Did you get the accent? Were you able to read it with the accent on the second syllable after I taught you that? Let me know in the chat. Yes, they do, Anne Marie. I know you've got this. You've been too successful. Oh, the syllable division, Blair. Don't worry, we're gonna have a whole lesson on that. A whole lesson. Yeah, Anne Marie, sure. Good. Got it. Of course you did. All right. I had a request for number 3 here. Let me clear clear this. 1 second. Okay, so number 3. Go ahead and try number 3 on your own. And then I'll come back. Oh, it doesn't even have a war in it. I don't know what I was thinking on this one. It's just a random OR word. But OR says or. Take a second. Okay. All right, so this E is going to say eh. I in the middle says I, regardless of if there are 2 consonants after it or not. It'll still say I because that's what I gets to do in the middle syllable. And then this OR says or, so we have b, l, e, p, I, m, or. I'm going to give that 1 dot for or, and then f. Blepimorph. How many syllables? 1, 2, 3. So yeah, that first syllable is accented right here. Blepimorph. Said stronger. Blepimorph. Blepimorph. All right. So you all were doing pretty good when I asked how you were getting WAR. How are you feeling after I introduced syllable accents and what did I call it? Yeah, accented syllables, stressed syllables toward the end. Okay, good, because it was a hard lesson to start with and I just threw that at you, but it looks like you're picking it up okay. Of course you are. You guys are brilliant. That's kind, as a thank you. All right, Anne Marie, I know you wanted to ask me a question. However, I don't have the ability in this meeting to turn your video on. Email me, and then I want to be able to help you. So I want to know what your question is, what your concern is. If anybody has a question or a concern, email me. I want to be able to help you. All right, my friends, you did it. You found the complexity you found the simplicity on the other side of complexity. You might still feeling a little exhausted from that mental exertion, but well done. You grew, your brain grew. You have those new nerve pathways now. You have that new knowledge that is yours to keep. We're going to review that. Don't worry, we're going to do a lot of review so that it won't get forgotten. All right, you're amazing. Have an amazing day being amazing. Bye, everybody.